Have you ever felt something was wrong in the house next to a peek through the curtains, a peek, footstep when no one was supposed to be there, footstep, a look no one was supposed to be empty but seemingly staring right into your mind, empty but seemingly staring right into your mind, but then little details slowly tear and normal tonight, I'll tell you about neighbors who seemed harmless until they showed up in the closet. Tonight, I'm going to tell you ordinary party stories. These stories aren't from imagination. They're not from novels or movies. They're told by people who survived just enough to tell. Sometimes the scariest thing isn't the monster in the woods. It's the person who waves to you every morning. Are you ready to look straight into the fear lurking behind the wall next door? The ghost in the boarding house. She's always there. When you're far from home, what you need most is a place to stay and a little peace. But I didn't get that. A new year of college, a tragedy that hit me in the night. And it started with the trade-off every time I looked out the window. Garrett, a sophomore, put his hand on the rusty iron gate and opened the door to the three-room house. The house used to be a hotel with long hallways and chaotic yellow lights. A quick introduction to the house. Students, cheap subsidies, a few mysterious-looking older people. Garrett saw her standing silently in the communal kitchen, not speaking, not cooking, not looking at anyone, just standing there watching. Her eyes were fixed on Garrett, as if she was examining him. Everyone else was ignoring him, as if they were used to it. Garrett was studying. Someone stood outside the window, looking up, only saw a gray shirt and gray hair. She started to dance a little, then ran away. Garrett tried to forget, but the small clicks, the sound of the door opening and closing, still repeated. Garrett accidentally entered the empty room, saw her standing in front of the mirror for an hour, discovered the diary with writings and drawings of Garrett while sleeping, organized a conversation with the people in the house. Everyone was cold. She's always been here. Don't pay attention. Small noise from the wardrobe. Garrett approached. The sound gradually faded. The breath was heavy. The wardrobe door opened. The light was sticky. She was holding a knife to Garrett. Around her neck was his collar. Fighting, shouting. Neighbors rushed in. Press down. Something was over, but still closed. She was not a student. She was a real sister of the building manager, locked there as a shadow. And he was charged with harboring a mentally ill person, a danger to the community. I survived thinking I was safe within my walls. Turns out the most dangerous thing is when you ignore the most obvious signs, because the ghost is sometimes always standing there. Through the camera, love or obsession. For 20 years, my husband and I lived in this house. The children had grown up and left. The whole neighborhood was quiet until someone moved in across the street, standing on the porch knitting, looking at the house across the street. Quinn appeared, luxury car, fashionable coat, polite words, recounting the conversations with her husband about investing, stocks, influencer career. Every week, a young blonde girl, driving a convertible, appeared when Quinn was away. She entered the house, had the key, but no one greeted her, looking familiar. At first she thought it was her girlfriend, but the way she appeared arrogantly and quietly when Quinn was away made her suspicious. The girlfriend was so angry, she yelled at Quinn in the street, her hand shaking. The scuffle ended when she got in her car and drove away. Her husband thought it was a normal affair, but she increasingly sensed something was wrong. In the middle of the night, she went to Quinn's house again, this time with the police. Quinn was stabbed and taken to the emergency room. Ellie was tied up and couldn't sing a word. Neighbors and friends were shocked, but no one knew what was going on inside. Quinn recounted. Ellie secretly copied the key, tracked the phone location, and installed another hidden camera. The night Quinn tried to break up, Ellie watched the camera and quietly burned it, carrying a knife. In the fight, Quinn saved her life in the nick of time. Quinn left the house saying, "I learned my lesson." Ellie was arrested, but there were still many friends like her out there. The story ended, but the question remained. Who was watching me through the camera? In this day and age, we share everything online and we trust too easily. But have you ever wondered who is watching you just because your camera battery died? The fake party, the man from the story nobody believes. I moved to the suburbs to escape the past. An old city, a failed love, a life full of screaming and arguing. Everything here seems so perfect, but if you live long enough in absolute silence, you start to hear sound that others can't. The protagonist decides to get to know Damon, a young man living alone in a house twice the size of the narrator. Damon appears friendly, but never has free time, never invites anyone into his home. I text, he replies, but he always refuses to meet. No friends, no visitors, no deliveries. But his car is always parked at the house. So what does he eat? How does he live? The protagonist is awakened in the middle of the night by music, laughter, clinking glasses. A party is happening in the middle of the week. Knocked on the door, no one answered. The door was unlocked. There were 10 pairs of shoes at the door. There were sounds, but no one. All was a recording of the party. I didn't understand. I should have gone back. But I kept going, down to the basement. The basement emitted dim light, the sound of a mower, the smell of bleach. 3 men wearing rubber gloves, safety glasses, stood silently looking toward a hidden corner. The protagonist couldn't see what they were doing, but knew he was witnessing something he shouldn't have seen. I heard the door close behind me. I couldn't hear it, but I felt it. They knew I saw it, and they were looking for me. The protagonist ran away from Damon's house, sneaked over the fence back to his house, turned off all the lights, looked out the window. A group of men without Damon came out, split up to search the yard, the street, looked up the window. No one called the police. No one reacted. The next day, the whole neighborhood, as if nothing had happened. Damon was gone. The car was gone. No one knew. No one bothered to ask. I asked the neighbors. No one heard the music. No one saw the car. No one knew who Damon was. Maybe I was dreaming. Maybe we're all dreaming, living in a nightmare that we don't dare open our eyes to. They live next to you, but you never really know who they are. The line between safety and death, when neighbors are no longer human. Do you really know who your neighbors are? That seemingly harmless question became the starting point of every tragedy. They don't live in the woods. They don't hide underground. They're right next to us. Every morning when you walk out the door, have you ever thought they'd kill you? The windows are closed. The TV lights flicker. The neighbors are silent when they see something. But what makes me shudder more? It's not them, the crazy people, the monsters in human form. It's us, the people living right next door, who saw but turned away, who heard but kept quiet, who suspected but quietly went inside and locked the door, referring to the mind-your-own-business culture, typical of American suburbs, where respect for privacy sometimes becomes a shield for crime, eliciting a suffocating feeling when everyone knows, but no one is willing to be the first to speak up. How many times have you heard screams in the middle of the night, but told yourself it's probably nothing? How many times have you seen a stranger walk into the house next door and then continue eating dinner as if you never saw him? A person standing by the window, looking outside, the streetlights reflecting on the glass. Maybe the scariest thing isn't them, but the fact that none of us dare to speak up.